Hello. Welcome.
So excited.
We're so happy you're here. We've got our drinks. Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers.
And we're ready to have some fun. I'll start out with I'm Vanessa. That's my book. I'm super honored to have oh my God, you guys are the best. I not only this phenomenal audiobook narrator, Teri Schnaubelt, is so incredible, and I'm honored to have her here, but also two of my very favorite people on Instagram, BookTube, website. Who knows? You don't even know. They're everywhere.
Right?
Sky's the limit.
Hopefully TV soon.
Seriously, I'm insta watching that. But Brad and Brittany from AudioShelf, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
And it's
you.
just like a super fun group to hang out, have some drinks, and talk audiobooks because we're all obsessed, obviously.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So thank you guys for being here. I think we should all start out with our firsts. So, Brad and Brittany, what was the first audiobook that you listened to? And then Teri, what was your first that you narrated? So
Okay. I thought we were talking about a different first.
I know. I was
Okay.
like, first what?
let me finish my drink and we'll get there.
On our first drink.
Well,
first audiobook.
yeah.
Is ours the same?
I think ours is the same because we started listening to audiobooks at the same time because I was just like, I felt like I was missing out on everything bookish. And I was just like, I really want to get back into reading, but physical reading takes a lot out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I listened to The Selection by Kass. And it's a YA novel.
Oh, cool.
And I was just like, oh my God, Brittany, you have to try this. And she was like, we'll see. And then she listened to it, and then all of a sudden it just spiraled into AudioShelf.
This.
You just knew instantly. It was like true love.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we just started talking about the narrator and what she did with the characters. And back then, I think if we re-listened to it now, we would have not totally different feelings, but we have been exposed to so many different narrators like Teri, and now we would just be like, wow, this book is so different for the genre and wherever everything is, and it would just be so different.
Definitely.
I love it. And see if you think this is a fair representation. One of the first audiobooks I listened to was just a couple of years ago, but I almost felt like I was sitting in the audience of a play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really felt like an additional layer of performance, because when you're reading, it's sort of you interpreting the author. But then when you've got the narrator, it's so cool because you get their voice and you get that sort of feeling of being an extra person taking the art, into their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah. We've noticed that especially with great narrators, they completely take the words and turn it into a movie in your ears.
Yes.
It's just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. And then there are some narrators who don't.
Teri's not one of them.
Yes.
You're totally a movie narrator.
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you. I really appreciate that, what you said, Vanessa, because, and you guys too, because a lot of us, most of us, I think, have actor training, and we're actors in other avenues, whether it's stage or on camera or other voiceover, commercial or industrial work. So we have that actor training, and we hope that adds that extra layer, but we're not sure if it always does. So the only way for us to check in is to hear from you guys, from authors and bloggers and podcasters, or to read the reviews on Audible. And have you guys read Audible reviews?
We narrated a book together, and she refuses to read them.
I won't read.
And I read them, and I laugh because they read me to filth. I'm so bad.
People are dicks.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I will not read the Audible reviews, mainly because I feel like it's from people who they just want one type of narrator to just read the things out like it's whisper synced, and that's not what audiobooks are to us.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a performance.
Exactly.
We want to bring the story alive, and in a way that makes it seamless, that we don't get in the way of the story unfolding and the characters coming to life. We want to sort of just be the avenue for that, but we want it to seem seamless, like you're watching a movie or listening to a movie or, you know, listening to a stage production.
Yes. But we definitely decided that we're going to let the professionals handle that because first of all, that was way too hard.
That was way too much work.
Like, I don't even know how, and that's the thing is like right after we finished recording the book, we were just like, why are we so critical of these people? Like our critiques started lightening up and being more accepting.
That's how it is for authors too. Like before I was kind of published, I would like had a Goodreads page that was not as, now it's like everything is 5 stars. Like I don't even, I'm like, you wrote a book?
Yeah.
5 stars.
Exactly.
Because it's so hard.
5 stars.
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's
just,
awesome.
it completely changes like how you think of things. Because I think before we were noticing like production stuff, and then we like actually were the producing the audiobook, and we were like, so what if you can hear a page turn? Like that's pretty freaking cool that you can hear them reading the book. Like whatever. What matters is their characterization.
And they did, like they showed up, they're performing for you, like
Exactly.
be glad.
Exactly. I don't think people give narrators like the credit that they deserve.
And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to start AudioShelf, because we noticed that everyone like rightfully so celebrates authors, but then we wanted to celebrate the partnership of an author and narrator coming together and creating something that ends up being amazing.
Right, we're creating something new. I mean, it's a part of what the author has done, but it's something new. Just like, you know, when actors do stage shows, there's a script that's been written 10, 15, 20 years ago, or even when they do Shakespeare, but it's new every time. It's slightly different every time, and it's new and it's fresh every time. And, you know, so the actors bring their own thing to it. But some of my favorite Audible listener reviews have been ones from some of my narrator friends that are British. I mean, these are people that are born, raised, lived in England, whether it's London or some other area, all their lives. And they get these reviews, worst British accent I've ever heard.
Oh my goodness.
And I know, and we're like, come on, guys, really?
That's just
right.
And you know, they're probably people who are not even British. It's like somebody from Ohio
Americans from somewhere
who watches Downton Abbey for one season and
yes. That's hilarious. Oh my god.
I know. It's like frustrating and hilarious. So we always take it with a grain of salt, but yet we still, you know, want to check in with our audience and with the people who buy the books and see how we're doing. Like, is there something that's trending that we should work on?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what was your first audiobook that you narrated, Teri?
I don't remember the name of it. I think it's been taken down from ACX. It was hilarious because when I started doing audiobook narration, I had a couple actor friends that were doing it. And I was like, yeah, I should really do that because I've been listening to audiobooks since they were on cassette. Like, you know, at this point, it's been 25 years, right? And I was like, I should definitely do that. Totally up my alley. What do I need to do? And they're like, take this, you know, 1-day class and then put up these samples on acx.com. And I did. And 15 minutes after I put up my samples, some author, it was a gal, offered me her whole series. And of course, it was a royalty share agreement, which if you know anything about ACX, it's like a crapshoot, right? But I was like, someone who loves me and they want me to do their book. So I was like, yeah, sign me up. And I think she's taken it down because she realized after she matured that maybe the writing's not the best, but I try not to judge. You know, I find something of value in every project that I do. And I love every project that I do for its own sake. And I try not to judge. Because that's the worst thing you want to do as a narrator is have like a commentary on the writing, right? You don't want to do that. So you want to just be present in the writing and believe it and love it. So you can, share it. So,
yeah.
Because the person listening probably does love it. I mean,
right.
unless they're that reviewer with the British accent.
British accent.
Right. But like when you love an author, I mean, you know, you love it, or if you're going through a series, like you're just in it to win it, and it's fun. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially with In for the Best with the video transcripts and everything. That was such a fun thing to have to physically read because we followed along, and also hear. It was just so different.
Yes. That's my favorite way.
Cool. I was a little nervous on how to do that. I was like, how should I do this? And, you know, I think I just was like, I'm just going to read it, you know, like it's a transcript. Like I'm just someone reading a transcript and, you know, voice the character voices as I would the characters. But yeah.
I thought it worked. It worked really well.
Yes.
So Vanessa, did you listen to the whole thing?
No, it gives me, I did listen to the beginning. I loved it. I just, way back when Brilliance Audio reached out to me, they were like, we've got this great narrator, and like, you know, you can listen to a sample if you want, but we just feel great about her. Like, she's gonna be perfect. And I was like, I trust you guys. I mean, y'all produce these all the time. Like, if you tell me they're good, I won't be like, I don't know. I listen to probably 10 audiobooks a year, so I feel like I have a lot to say. Like, no. But I did go and listen to some of your samples. I think there's a series you do. I'm trying to remember what it was, but anyway, and I was like, oh yeah, her voice is great. So I felt great about it going in. And then when I heard the opening, your voice is so emotional. Like every word, I was like, oh, this is great. Like you really, because that's a lot of words. It's like 85,000 words. That's a lot of effort. And I just was like, she's really not pulling back at all. Like every word was so like deeply felt and emotional. And I was like, okay, this is perfect, because the character, she's complex. And I think to get the emotional part of her was hard for me as a writer. And I think as a narrator is really important, because if you aren't feeling some sympathy for her, it's going to be a hard road. She gets pretty wild. So I really I don't think I had the knowledge yet to be, I wouldn't be able to say to the producer at Brilliance, like, get someone with a really emotional voice. I just don't think I had that awareness. But when I heard you do it, I thought that is actually exactly what it needed.
Wow, that's great. Did you have like some writers, when they write, they have like, especially with the main character, they have maybe a celebrity reference in their head or something. Did you have that?
So with my debut Little Voices, I kept picturing like Jessica Chastain. But this book, who I love, I'm obsessed with her. I actually met her once, and anyway, that's the story for a minute. It's a good story too. It was like off Broadway. Anyway, it wasn't like hanging out with her at a club.
Still, I mean, it basically is. You can say anything.
I mean, we were hanging out. I'm gonna text her after this. No, but so for the Best, it was so weird because Jules's voice was so strong in my head in a way I've never experienced writing before. So I didn't really have a celebrity because she really felt like a person in a weird way. It was very strange. And she honestly was like a lot to take. I mean, I was like, I wrote it for 6 months and then revised it for a couple months. And like, when I kind of got through it, I was like, okay, it's time to put Jules aside, because she's just a personality. So I didn't really have a celebrity. In fact, I'm always a little light on character descriptions, because for me as a reader, I kind of picture whatever I want. Some people love character descriptions, and that's totally cool. But for me, I almost feel like I'm watching a movie. And so in that way, it's just sort of you fill in and things happen. And so for her, I kind of thought maybe she'd have like kind of like black hair and, you know, but nothing major. It could be like almost any actress. But maybe, did you picture an actress?
No, I didn't. I was right there with you, as she was just a person all on her own. Nothing came to mind specifically, but she was very three-dimensional for me.
For me, I was just picturing myself. I thought
maybe that's mine too.
I thought you used me as a reference. I was like, oh my God, how does she know my life? Like that first page, I was like, oh, did I remember saying that last night? Like,
yeah, that's hungover.
It came from a place of having a 20s decade.
Well, I mean,
for sure.
I think there's probably a lot of us that, well, maybe I'm the only one of us three, but I know that I can relate to having a little too much to drink and waking up the next day and going, oh, where did I get that cut from and that bruise from? Why are my knees all scraped up?
Yes, where did that
you know,
mud
and
come
that like
from?
Definitely murdered someone.
Where's my wallet? I mean,
Yes.
that's a real thought. Where's my wallet?
Oh my
Where's my
goodness.
phone?
Oh yeah, all the time. Like even when it's on me, I'm like,
Yes.
where's my wallet?
My goodness.
Did I leave my credit card there?
Yep.
Is it still open?
Definitely. God.
And why
How
is this
much- who
bar
did I buy
calling
drinks
me
for?
saying my tab is still open?
Yes.
I
Oh,
heard of this
my
place.
goodness. Putting on speed dial back in my 20s.
Mhm. Yes, so it came from a true place from that perspective, and then definitely like what would be the worst thing that could possibly happen in that scenario. Like, well,
I
somebody
think you
told you you
nailed
maybe
that.
murdered somebody. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
it's hard to argue when you can't remember.
Ooh.
Yeah, and you have all these cuts and bruises on
Yeah.
you. Like you're like, okay, yeah, I probably did.
Oops.
Okay, fair.
But then it's like so cool that she goes on her own investigative
Yeah.
journey, and it's. I know you were talking about Jules and like needing a break from her, but in the best way possible is how I mean this. Jules was the only character I could stand.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all a lot.
All the other ones were like, you're so annoying in the best way possible. Like
Totally.
I loved all of them, but I loved Jules a lot more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like with Jules, she takes her fate into her own hands. Like there's
Mhm.
not like that trope of being gaslit by someone or kind of like, you know, feeling guilty all the time. She was just like, no, I'm going to investigate this. I'm going to try to
Mhm.
find out what happened.
Yeah, and if someone's being rude to me, I'm gonna be rude right back. Like
Yeah.
the interaction with Kara is like perfection. Like her just like giving it right back and not being a character that like shies away when
Mhm.
confronted with a heavy topic was amazing.
So good. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, you know, people that are really assertive and just are so fascinating to me. And that's like who I want to spend time watching. I'm not saying I want to
Mhm.
like hang out with them all the time,
Yeah.
but I like want to see what they're going to do next. I love
Mhm.
that feeling of being like, what is this crazy bitch going to do next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep following her. Even if I don't agree with it, because I, you know, she does lots of stuff that I don't agree
Mhm.
with, but it's like,
Yeah.
but that it's believable because that's kind of how she is. And
Mhm.
a lot of the other characters were sort of like in her face too, which
Yeah.
makes it
Yeah.
fun.
Mhm.
Which they
Yeah.
should have been because she was off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt bad for her husband because I was just like,
Oh.
get like a little bit control in your life, sir. Like,
But he's like on a like kind of sad note, like if you've ever loved people with like serious drinking problems in your
Yeah.
life, like they usually partner up with really enabling people.
exactly.
Mhm.
And, and people
yeah,
were like, oh, why is he like that? And I was like,
that's true.
it's good that you don't know why. That means you haven't had that experience.
Yes.
That's
Or
good.
maybe they're having that experience and they don't.
They don't know it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Seriously. But yeah, like to have a really serious drinking problem like that and to just live every day like that is
Mhm.
you have picked on some level an enabling partner, likely often even marrying your own parents' relationship, which was the
Mhm.
case I think for her.
Yeah.
And it's just
It's
what
very
I've
common.
seen, and I've seen firsthand. And so he is annoying because he's such a dish rag, but it's
Yeah.
like, but that's who she would pick. She wouldn't pick someone that called her on her
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
Yeah. She
Yep.
wouldn't pick Philip because he told her like, bye,
Yeah.
gone.
for sure. Yeah, he
Mhm.
was not putting up with that.
Mm-mm.
I did love Philip though.
Me too.
He's my fave.
Yes. Oh,
And the voice for Philip.
yes.
Oh my God. It made me question everything
Really
Like-
did. It really did.
in a good way.
Really?
Yeah, because I thought his voice was just like, you gave each one something different about themselves. And so it was perfect to hear like his manness
Through you.
through you.
Well, I think for Philip, what I was having kind of in my head, in the back of my mind the whole time, was this complexity that's nothing is really what it is on the surface, and that he's got layers, and he's just mistrustful, and that he's always, his mind is always going. Like, you know, he's one of those guys who wakes up in the middle of the night and his mind just is spinning.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking for him, I guess.
Yeah, and you got that too, and it helped like build who he was, like who Vanessa wrote. You were able to sculpt and fully create.
Yeah,
because he really kind of gets dangerously close to, to the truth several times, and she just doesn't want to sort of see it. I think so. He's a great character.
Now, how do you tackle male voices when you go into an audiobook? Like, do you go in there and say, like, I'm going to do this deeper voice of mine? Do you think about that when you read a script?
I think about the character. Like, who is this person? Is he someone who's forceful and strong and manly and like, this is the deal? Or is he kind of like he's kind of laid back and he's kind of like, whatever, I'm just a dude, I don't give a shit. Like, what is his personality? What are his personality traits? And then I build off of that to create the voice. And it's not that I necessarily say this guy's voice is higher or lower or whatever. It's all those personality traits. And it's like, what is his cadence like? Is it relaxed? Is it very like anal retentive, matter of fact, kind of a thing. So I let the characteristics of them drive how the voice comes out. And sometimes I don't even plan it ahead of time. Sometimes I just start with what his first piece of dialogue is and see if I like it. And sometimes I nail it and I'm like, yeah, that's totally him, or her. And I keep going. And then sometimes I'm like, no, that's not right. That sucks. Because we're like, we have to self-direct the entire time because we're just alone in our booth. So, so sometimes we're like, okay, no, that dude sounds like, no, not the right thing at all. But that's what's fun about it. It's like you get to play around and there's no one criticizing you in the moment.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So is the first thing you do then you like just sit down and read it? Like, what's your kind of process?
Yes. I try to read the whole thing through right off the bat, just like a normal person, quietly to myself. And because I think that helps get a sense of the story from beginning to end, the story arc, if you will, the characters, because the characters sometimes have arcs as well. They change, and you're informed about each character, about what they say about themselves, what they do, what other characters say and do about them. So there's all these like clues all along the way that the author has given that we need to take into account to craft or create those characters.
Wow.
So,
it's such a process.
Yeah.
It is really, but and there's I don't know if I may have come to tears in yours, but there's several books that I've come to tears, like sobbing in the booth, and I have to stop recording and take a break because otherwise I'm going to narrate and sound like I've been crying. And sometimes I just start laughing and it's hilarious. It's all over the board. Sometimes in the same book, you're crying, you're laughing. Oh my God.
So you were mentioning how you wore that fabulous scarf to kind of like audiobook.
Yeah, it's
convention.
called APAC, Audio Publishers Association Conference.
Like, if we just went one year, what's it like?
We have a goal of hosting it one year. That's one thing.
Oh my God, you guys should host the audience. That's what you should
Oh,
do.
Yes. Okay.
Please.
All right.
It's the awards.
Where do we
That
sign
would
up?
be hilarious.
Yes.
Do it.
You'd be so good. So what's it like? Is it it's like, I imagine it's a lot of kind of actors, personalities, fun.
Yes. Well, yes. I mean, truth be told, a lot of actors and narrators are introverts. And I like to say that I'm an introvert who has learned how to be an extrovert when I need to. So, and so we all are like on during this conference, and we all admit to the fact that we love seeing everyone and talking to everyone and hugging and stuff. But then we go back to our hotels and we're like, oh my God, we're like completely drained because we spend so much energy putting ourselves out there and being like, oh, yes, I'm so wonderful, that it's just exhausting. Like you can't really truly be yourself, but it's like the 1 or 2 times a year that we can see other narrators, and there's, you know, probably 600 of us that go, but there's the publishers that go too. So we're all trying to like say, hi, publisher.
Smooze a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Look at me. You know, the ones that you work with, you want to make sure that you're fresh in their mind. And the ones that you want to work with, you want to try to sort of get in front of and get some FaceTime. So, you know, it's a whole networking thing, but it's also kind of a big party too, because we do, you know, like events each night where we just hang out and go to bars and drink.
Yep.
Well, that's what introverts have to do when they're like, I'll usually go to maybe a couple writer conferences a year, and almost everyone's an introvert too. And so, but we're so excited, and it's like, this is your opportunity to not just be by yourself. You go, and like the bar is just packed. I mean, we're all just slugging booze and hugging and chatting and schmoozing as much as we can possibly make ourselves schmooze, because, you know, it's so different than you're a forced extrovert for like 3 days.
Exactly.
And maybe you go to your hotel room and have a little shower cry. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
No.
It's like a normal Tuesday.
Yes.
Thank you. And then you just roll on out, you know, in like nice clothes that you never wear, like that you bought just for that conference. And like, I don't know, it's really fun because everyone's just trying their best.
So our conference always takes place at the same time as Book Expo, Book Expo America, BEA. So you guys could all come out, and then you could hang out at all of our little like narrator get-togethers.
Yeah,
I would love to hang out with the audiobook crowd. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
They're
We would know people by name, but we wouldn't know them by face, which is always like
you like close your eyes. All right, talk to me for a second.
Yeah, talk to me.
Exactly.
That's so fun.
So now, Vanessa, we were talking about this before we kind of like started this, but we did see that little note that you had in For the Best about Little Voices.
oh yeah.
The
little shout out.
Little shout out.
Yes. Oh, the book thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're like, you read the book Little Voices. I was like, oh my God, that's her book.
I'm such a geek for Easter eggs and stuff.
Yes.
And like, I actually did that like in edits. And I messaged my friend, I'm like, is this just like really weird and vain? And I'm like, no, people who get it will get it. And people who don't care. And I was like, okay. Because I love Easter eggs. And the fact that, I mean, Philip was there and why not?
Yeah. I was like, wait, that's the book. And then I didn't say anything to Brad about it. And then just like I think today, he called me and we were just like talking about this and how like excited we were. And I was like, no, there was a note in there, right? Like I listened to it like 2 weeks ago or something. And I was like,
you thought it was a
wait,
dream.
did I dream that there was this little Easter egg? Or because that's not something that normally happens.
Yeah, I just thought I'd drop a Little Voices. I mean, he was talking about I wanted him to have that history. Yeah. And I was like, well, what would he call his book? And I'm like, why not? that.
Why not?
Why not?
And that's
I'm an Easter egg geek, so.
Yeah. I think that's the best thing about this book is like you will be thinking about the content of the book and the story and the plot like way after you read it.
Oh,
and I think
nice.
that's the best thing about this novel in particular.
Yeah. Yeah, because the topic in it that like Terrence was fighting for is a very relatable topic in today's world. So like it's something that you constantly, it sticks with you after you've already listened to a few more books.
And for Jules, like she to me was a character who I kind of created out of my own frustration with, you know, white women and the privileged life we have and how we expect things to be a certain way. And, you know, the domestic thriller space is full of white women main characters, which is fine. Like Little Voices, you know, it's a white woman and she's like storming into the police station and she's snooping in her neighbor's bushes for clues or whatever. And so, which that's fine. But like when I sat down to write this book, I was like, I don't feel right just having this white woman just like storming into places with her privilege. So yeah, it was good for me to be able to like explore my own shortcomings. the many ways in which I failed, and to just think about, like, you know, why do I expect things to be for the best, right? Because the structure is made for me, basically, and has been for all of time.
Yeah.
And, you know, even though it's a, you know, a thriller and it's fun and page turny, I do love that. I think with crime fiction, particularly because you're dealing with life and death and justice, you know, and inequity all the time, that you can explore some like kind of bigger themes. And it was like on my heart. I mean, I just, since the election and everything, and, you know, 60% of women voted for Trump and all that stuff, I just felt like I wanted to push myself to explore, you know, why we're making the choices. And it always came back to privilege for me. And, you know, the same with the relationship with her father. I just think that so much of it is learned and passed down generation to generation, how we act, what we expect, you know, and so it was good for me to be able to like have a place to kind of explore that. And, you know, fortunately, like when I started this book, I don't think I would have even used the word privilege in that way. I think it's really, thankfully, there have been a lot of people educating white women and others like about these like terms and things that we're experiencing. And so by the time this book came out, I had a language around the like shame I kind of felt and frustration really at, you know, how a lot of us act and expect things to go.
Yeah. And I will say, just for myself, I didn't expect the ending. Like that was a twist to it that I did not expect. And it's one that I appreciated.
Yeah. She appreciated it. So we had this book that we read previously, and Brittany did not appreciate that because there was like no justice in the end. And I think right when I finished this book, I was like, Brittany's gonna love this. Obviously, we're not gonna give away the ending, but
yeah,
like,
of course, no spoilers. But yeah, that's I knew almost right away that where it ended up was where it was gonna go. Like, that was just the only thing emotionally right for me, for sure.
Yeah, and it's just something that you don't see justice being served in that way. It's always just either no justice or it's somebody else's justice. Like it's
right. Like you're the yes.
Yeah.
It's hard not to have spoilers, but yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm like trying to tiptoe. Like, what do I say? But yeah, it was great.
It was great.
Teri, were you surprised by the ending without spoilers?
I was, because actually, I didn't read the ending on purpose. Because I sort of wanted, and in fact, actually, I felt like when I started narrating, I hadn't finished the book, reading through it all the way. And so, and I really appreciated that I didn't do that when I started, when I got further on, because I realized that in order to portray her as this, you know, convicted, she has her convictions and she's sure that, you know, nothing happened, that she could not be responsible for that death or anything like that. And to have that, that surety, I felt like it was a good move for me not to read the ending.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're just believing the character along the way.
Yeah, so I was growing along with her and coming to realizations along with her. And like there's some books that you really need to read the ending, like especially if there's like a red herring, like a murderer who has dialogue at some point in the book, but you need to know, like, is this a man or a woman? And you know, like you need to make the dialogue different enough from who it really is so that it doesn't give it away, but also similar enough that it could be that person or it could be this other person, but you didn't have it in that case. So I was okay with not reading the ending.
Oh, I love it. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, this is a surprise for you too.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, he did not, she did not, what? This is good.
It might also help to know that I was raised on soap operas, so I'm like a Days of Our Lives girl.
Yes.
And well, Stefano was a character in Little Voices because of Stefano De Niro from Days of
Oh
Our
my
Lives.
gosh. And Marlena, when she was
I
possessed.
can't like
My gosh.
like when Marlena was possessed by the devil, those were formative years for me.
Oh my God, yes. I was at that moment in my life, I knew I was different.
I connected with her and her struggle. Who was her Peter? No, who's the black-haired guy who
Oh.
that she's in love with always, but he was always married to someone else.
Oh, it's literally on the tip of my tongue. Nope.
Marlena and
As soon as you stop thinking about it.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
we'll get there. So I love drama in my books, and I feel like books are just, if someone's sitting around with you for like 7 hours, like you gotta just bring it on in at the end. Like just go as big as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, that's my philosophy. Like I just
in acting terms, we call it raising the stakes.
yes.
But like what you said earlier was like, what's the worst that could happen? That's raising the stakes. And at each point you go, okay, what's the worst that can happen now?
That's
and
right.
that's just raising the stakes. And that's what happens in every good TV show, every good TV drama. I mean, look at Ozark. Everything, it just keeps raising the stakes.
Yes.
Like, oh shit. Right?
Oh shit. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Oh shit. No.
Yeah.
Now we have to end the show.
That's right.
Oh shit.
But it's like, I just think we're kind of in this heyday of writing in a lot of ways. Like just every genre is really, I mean, there's, stinkers in the bunch, but overall, I just feel like you go YA, you're going to get blown away. Like in the thrillers, like every category you can find phenomenal, exciting writing. And it's like, so if you're a writer, you better bring it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel. It's like, go big, because nobody ever says, oh, that was too exciting.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Never.
Never.
Yeah. I was like, oh, my heart was beating too fast. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the ones that get the most critiques are the ones that don't go as exciting. Because it's like, oh, I could have guessed that. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Or even feels like creatively they're just wanting to kind of get it over with.
Yeah.
It's like, did you have a deadline, honey?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
So what's next for you, Vanessa?
Well, I've written a third book that I need to edit, and we'll see where it lands. I don't know. I'm excited about it. It's a little bit in Rhode Island, but it's actually mostly in northeastern Oklahoma, where I'm from. So it's kind of a rural setting. It's in 2008. Right before.
What happened in 2008? What happened?
Well, something big in northeastern Oklahoma happened in 2008. Something scary.
Oh.
And then it's loosely based on a kind of a true crime thing that happened where I'm from. These two girls were very, very likely murdered, and the bodies were never found, and their families have been looking nonstop since I was a senior in high school when it happened. So that story had always stayed with me. I've just, and it's not their story at all, but it's just this idea of how girls go missing and the kind of impact it has, and then also, how it haunts us and those people who are still here. But it's pretty wild. Like there's tigers, drug dealers. I really wanted it to be pretty wild and a little bit scary. I kind of wanted
Tigers are really in right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm obsessed with Tiger King.
Yes.
So there's that. And Tiger King is set in Oklahoma.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
it's Carol Baskins.
Yeah. Oh God. I have a coffee mug that says that. Oh my God, has anybody watched her on Dancing with the Stars?
No.
It's cringy. It is cringy.
I can't.
Did someone say her first dance was Eye of the Tiger?
Eye of the Tiger.
I'm like sobbing. Okay, cool. But I wanted to put some tigers in there to guard some meth, and I just felt like
Oh, I love that.
And one of the tigers is
That's
maybe
fun.
named Baskin. I don't know.
No.
Oh my God, Easter eggs.
As she drinks.
Right.
So we'll see. It's such a, as you know, publishing is such a crazy business. I have no idea what's going to happen next, but I've got that. And actually, I'm working on an Audible original idea too.
Nice.
Really?
Awesome.
That I'm really excited about. There's a couple other authors I'm trying to like do a little group thing. We'll see if it works out. But I love audiobooks, and I think it's just such an exciting place to be. And
Fastest growing segment of the publishing industry.
absolutely.
It really, like, it was, I think we started in like 2016 with our podcast, and like people weren't talking about it. I'm not saying that we started, audiobook podcasting, but
You
like,
were early.
People weren't talking about it. And now it's like huge. And especially in the Bookstagram world, like people are finally admitting that they're, more than 60% of their books are actually doing audiobooks to keep up,
Yeah, people are finally admitting that it is reading.
Ugh.
I know that was so, it's like, of course it's reading.
Yeah. If anything, it's better.
I agree with that. I have more of I like holding it, and even a Kindle, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it feels like a more elevated experience when I
Mhm.
listen to it with a
Yeah.
great narrator like Teri.
Yeah. Yes,
And like we
exactly.
follow along, like for the best, we followed along with the audiobook and holding it because there's just
cool.
like, it amplifies it.
Mhm.
So we love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
You
I
have
think
any-
anytime, you have an emotional response to something, that leaves a more lasting impression on you. And if you can have another person, another human being having an emotional reaction or emoting in such a way that causes an emotional reaction in you, there's that shared experience that you have, that shared connection. And that's what it's all about, is
Mhm.
connecting human beings with these stories. And
Yeah.
if we can have that connection with other human beings, that's all we ask.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what
I
makes
love
an
that.
impression. So.
How many books, Teri, do you usually like take on at one time?
I usually do one a week. So usually about 50 a year.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
We
So I've
couldn't even
done
do one.
almost 300. Yeah.
And we only had 20 chapters each. Like, it was short chapters.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
we bow down.
And what's great is, like Vanessa said earlier, is I do some erotic romance, I do thrillers, I do nonfiction. I do a lot of nonfiction. I do just general fiction, comedy, all over the board, which is what's so rewarding. But the unexpected thing for me about thrillers was playing the dark characters.
Mm.
Like when I encounter, like I've had some where I'm like, I accept the book, like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting, I'd love to do that. And then I start reading it and I'm like, oh God, it's like someone who murders children or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And I start to get like that kind of the heebie-jeebies, and I start doing it in the booth where I start narrating it. And I'm like, I get real evil. And I just into that like deliciousness
Oh, yes.
of it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like if you watched Robin Williams in what was his, like he did like a couple of
The
thrillers.
photo booth?
1 hour photo.
1 hour photo, yeah.
Yeah, 1 hour
Mhm.
photo.
So
Like,
good.
just like so nice, and he's so pleasant. And you just tap into that and you're like,
Yeah.
oh man, I went dark right there. I went
Yes.
dark.
You're like, who am I?
I know. And it just like brings it out and you're like, whoa, I gotta get out of the booth for a little while. It's crazy, but it's kind of fun and rewarding because you want to make people hate him and just
Mhm.
you want to make their skin crawl from it.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah.
And there is something sort of voyeuristic or cathartic or something about being someone terrible.
Yeah.
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 Really fun. And
Because we're not in real,
awful.
hopefully we're not in real life, but we
No,
can
not at all.
be it
No.
for a moment.
Yeah.
Or 6 months of editing.
Whatever it is.
Who knew?
I love it.
That's
Totally
awesome.
delicious.
So, Teri, do you listen to audiobooks then in your just normal life?
I do when I can.
Yeah.
It's hard to, but sometimes so my boyfriend is a pilot for American Airlines. So when he's out on a trip, I'll have an audiobook on when I'm doing breakfast, when I'm falling asleep and stuff like that. So I do love to listen to great ones.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite narrators?
Oh, so many. Well, one of my favorite audiobooks recently was Daisy Jones and the Six.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh.
I was like, I couldn't do anything else while I was listening to that book because I was like,
Yes.
it was like listening to a documentary. It was like you were
Yeah.
in a Netflix documentary and it was just the audio, right?
I want all of those people casted for the show.
Yeah. And the music. I need words with the sounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same thing with Evelyn Hugo.
Yeah.
Like, have
Oh
you
my
read?
God. Yeah.
Oh
She
my
is
God.
yeah.
She's on fire. She's on fire.
So some of my favorite female I try to listen to female narrators because I feel like that kind of helps me elevate my game. So I listen to Cassandra Campbell, Julia Whalen, you know, lots of ladies who are just phenomenal that I'm like, oh, I'm going to try to pretend I'm them when I talk to them. But yeah.
Awesome.
I love it. Brad and Brittany, who are some of your favorites lately?
Oh, I think we have like always favorites of like Lauren Ezzo.
Oh, Lauren Ezzo's our girl.
Yeah.
Rebecca Soler, she's really good. She narrated Gretchen by
By Sharon Kirk.
Sharon Kirk. Shannon Kirk.
Shannon Kirk. Yes. Oh, that's a great.
Yeah, it's
I
so
listened
good.
to that on audio too. It's so
I
good.
love Rebecca Soler. Who else?
Oh, I have not heard her. I'm gonna have to listen to her. I'm gonna have to add her first.
Caitlyn Kelly. Caitlyn Kelly's pretty good.
Yep.
She does a lot of YA.
Fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
And YA generally. Yeah, we actually, our first audiobook that we listened to of hers, we didn't like the book, but we loved her. And so it made us like love the book a little bit more just because she was so great, which is another like great things with narrators is that even if a book is not, you know, necessarily like your favorite thing ever, the narrator can really like boost it.
Yes.
For sure. I've gotten a few reviews like that where they weren't crazy about the story, but they kept listening because of me. And I'm like, ding, nailed it.
And we really love watching authors like choose narrators to narrate their whole entire collection. Like with Ruth Ware and Imogen Church, that's like a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so really cool. I hadn't realized it, put that together. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's fun to kind of see those connections kind of be made. So
yeah.
Nice.
That's great. It's a pretty exciting place to be.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we'll close out with just a round robin of you guys recommending a recent fave audiobook that people should check out.
Okay.
Wait, okay, let me.
What I listen to.
Give me a second.
Yeah, that's okay. We can all look at our Kindles.
Yes.
Look at my.
Let's see.
My library.
Oh, that one's good.
Your Audible apps, no problem.
Oh, I got it.
I have that one. Don't you?
Okay, who wants to start?
Don't you copy mine?
Oh, I don't know the narrator though.
Yeah, I can't find the narrator on mine either. I'll just Google
The
it.
book I can search.
The Vanishing Half.
Oh
my God, it's so good.
Oh, I can't believe you returned it to the library
It
already.
came back.
It did?
I don't know who this is. Shayna Small? I don't know.
Yes.
So the weird thing about narrators is it's a pretty small group and a lot of us know each other. Like I know Caitlyn Kelly. I know Cassandra Campbell. I've met pretty much everybody. Unless they're a celebrity.
Michelle Obama.
Oh yes.
I've not met Michelle Obama.
Narrated hers.
That's on my list. Yeah.
Teri, what do you think about that? Because we've had many heated discussions about the idea that a lot of celebrities who narrate their own books get more attention than other narrators that aren't mainstream.
Well, and we can extrapolate that to a lot of celebrity narrators get nominated for audio awards and win audio awards, right? part of that, I mean, part of that is that really kind of helps bring attention to the genre. It helps sell more books overall. It helps convert more people to listen to audiobooks, and that's great. That's great. And it's just like with traditional voiceover, like commercials that you hear on TV. Sometimes like you recognize a celebrity, right? And
Mhm.
traditional voiceover artists are like, the celebrities are always taking our jobs. You know, there's enough work out there, and not every celebrity is great at narrating an audiobook, and not every celebrity wants to. Believe me, I've been in enough actor groups on Facebook that their worst nightmare is sitting alone in a small dark booth like I'm in now, talking to themselves for 8 hours a day. That's
Yeah.
their worst nightmare.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's fine. Leave it to us.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, not a celebrity so much, but there was, I did a nonfiction book called Radical Candor.
Okay.
And she wrote the book and she speaks, and, you know, it got very popular. And then she narrated the book herself, and she got a lot of radically candid reviews that said
Mhm.
she didn't have a great voice. And I'm putting it nicely. Um, that she should, you know, have a professional read it. So her publishing company hired me to do it. And
Wow.
she recognized that she needed a professional who that's in their wheelhouse. Like her wheelhouse was doing something else, writing and figuring out this issue, you know, how to be radically candid in the
Mhm.
workplace and in life, and leave that to her and then leave this to us.
Yeah, definitely.
So not every celebrity can stand to do an audiobook, you know, and sometimes when they do one, they're like, okay, never again.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So that's fine. You know, I understand the value of it, but I understand that, you know, we're still hopefully going to have a job.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, if we just keep doing our job well,
Mhm. Definitely.
yeah.
So I think I found mine. So I'll be.
Go ahead.
So Emily Carpenter, she is one of those authors that has a narrator that reads all of her books. Kate Orsini.
Kate Orsini.
Fantastic.
Either. Wow.
She is every single book of Emily Carpenter she reads, and I'm just like obsessed.
And there's a new one coming, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
reviving the Hawthorne sisters.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Very excited.
So I have two, because one I'm listening to right now. It's Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Bashardus.
Yep.
Is that
Yep.
how you pronounce it? And then the narrator. I want to make sure that I get her name. Oh crap. Well, now I lost it.
Do you ever go outside of the genre of thriller, Vanessa? Like not writing, but reading?
Well, actually, for writing, that's funny you say that. I just, because I'm kind of between some projects right now, I just had a really random idea for a YA. So I've just been writing YA the past few weeks for
Awesome.
just pleasure and fun. Yeah. Do you know what I really read besides thrillers is historical romance.
Really?
I love historical romance. Like oh my God, I'm blanking. Anyway, there's some really fun I could just look at my Kindle, but Sarah McLean is the one. I'm like obsessed with her because I love escapism. This is probably the same with like erotic and stuff. Like I love sexy escapism and to just sort of be like transported into a place that it's not that people are going to get murdered. It's more like, will they end up together even though you know that they will, because that's the promise of the story. And then like I just like the bustiers and the boobs and the costumes.
Is this a bodice ripper?
Yeah, absolutely. And like historical romance is so steamy now. Like it's just you don't have to go erotic. You can just go middle of the road.
Yeah.
So much fun.
I think Outlander is a lot to thank for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Nice.
So I love a little historical romance. I think that's pretty fun.
It's awesome.
So the narrator for Girl Serpent Thorn is Nikki Masood.
She's good.
She's amazing. And then my second one is When No One Is Watching. by Alyssa Cole, and the narrators, because that one's a dual narration, is Susan Dylian and Jay Aseng. I hope
Cool.
I
I
don't
want to
know.
be the audio of that.
Yeah, that one's really, really awesome. And
Yeah.
there's a super sexy scene in it.
Ooh, yay. Sold.
I'll start that one tonight.
Right.
It's real good.
And Alyssa Cole is like a great romance writer. So, don't waste that. Put that in a thriller, baby.
Yeah. And that one's like a really great thriller, which like at the beginning it moves like a little bit slower, but it's really great with like history, and you're just getting the like understanding of this neighborhood, and then it does the sexy scene, and then like everything starts just tumbling, and you're like, where am I?
I'm happy I'm here, but wow.
Yeah. How did I get here?
Oh, I love it. Okay, who's next?
Okay, well, here's one that I started listening to. I still have to finish it. It's called Call Your Daughter Home by Deb Spira. And it's narrated by Robin Miles, Adenrele, I'm not sure how to say her last name. Is it Ojo or Ojo? And Brittany Presley.
Oh, I love Brittany Presley.
Right? And well, Robin and Adenrele are also fabulous as well.
Yes.
It's just another one of those that's very real sounding. These ladies are all fabulous. Just like Daisy Jones and the Six, where you feel like you're listening to real people.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do. And these ladies are fabulous at it.
Oh, that'll be awesome to listen to. We'll put that on my list.
Definitely. And we definitely like follow narrators too. Like I will listen to anything Bonnie Turpin narrates.
Right.
She's everything.
And now we have like 300 more books of Teri to listen
Right?
to.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. No, you are so fabulous, Teri. I mean, I just feel like you left it all on the mat. Like you just gave it everything, which means a lot for a writer to see.
It's all very nerve-wracking, when we have the author, because sometimes authors really have concrete voices in their heads for these characters. And the thing, I've worked with a lot of independent authors on their first audiobook, and the thing I try to remind them is that your listeners are not going to have those voices in their heads. You have them, but your listeners won't. They're going to have any number of different combinations of who that person sounds like.
Yeah.
So just because I'm doing it different than it sounds in your head doesn't make it wrong. And some new authors kind of get hung up on that. It's like, well, that's not how I had in mind, or that's not how, it's supposed to sound. Like, well, according to whom? My job is to take everything that you've written about the character and put it into, bring it to life. And if you haven't written that it's supposed to sound like X or Y, then it's not going to sound like that.
Yeah.
And you're an expert, so your interpretation matters a lot more than a writer's, I think, because we don't know. Like, we're not getting on stage and acting. Like, no. So I think
that's the fun, creative part of it. Is like,
that's right.
Well,
even
around with this.
A book cover is an artist's interpretation of a work.
Yep.
That's and honestly, as a writer, I hope most of us know that you write it for yourself or you write it for whatever, and then it's not yours, right? Every single person brings their own life and interpretation and feelings to a work. And so you have to let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
And that's like the beauty of it.
Brilliant.
Love it. So mine is like pretty, so I think she's famous. Susan Bennett, is she Surrey?
Oh, I love, yes, she is.
Oh yeah.
She did Sunburn by Laura Lippman.
Uh-huh.
And I loved it. So that's just the first one that popped into my mind. But she was great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And also, speaking of Bennett's, Erin Bennett.
Yes, she's fabulous.
I don't want to butcher the name, but Ellen, is it Ellen, the author with Winter in Paradise and the Winter Solstice and the Winter series?
Hildebrand?
Hildebrand. Ellen Hildebrand. She He reads a lot of her books too.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Those are good. The Christmas,
Mhm.
the Winter Street is really good for Christmas.
Yeah.
Does Ellen Hildebrand have the same narrator every time?
For all of the books that we've listened to
Yeah.
with her, it's been Erin Bennett.
Oh, that's so cool.
She's had Therese Plummer.
Therese Plummer, yes, love her too.
Let's see. Janet Metzger, Marianne Fraulo, who I don't know. Rachel Warren, but mostly Erin Bennett. Yeah, Christina Delane.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's
she
awesome.
puts
She's written a lot of
Yeah.
books.
Yeah. She just
like every season.
Every season.
She just signed a deal for 3 more. Actually, I just saw it this week.
Oh, wow.
So there's more coming.
Nice.
This is so nice.
Yes.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for asking me to be a part of this.
No, this means a lot. To get to talk to someone who's an expert and then talk to 2 fantastic people who are big fans like I am, like it means a lot. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
We're big fans of both of yours.
Yes.
So
Thank you so much.